What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rogue here with my boy Jay, fresh off the mother effing presses for a second time of recording, bro. This is a collab. I guess the guys don't want us to do it because last week we recorded an hour-long collaboration that just the file. I ain't even gonna say it got corrupted. It was just my pure ignorance, but I figured out how to do it properly thanks to Chat GPTs. Came in clutch. So we're gonna start.
Clutch.
This is a follow-up interview from the first interview we did. Asked them how Providence was, the pros and cons of vending, trade binder, things like that, and we just gonna go over everything from there. So Jay, once again for the second week in a row, how was YCS Providence? We kind of went over it last
Yeah.
week, but you can go over it brief. You don't have to go into too much detail.
Hey, hey, those experiences are always great. I don't mind like doing it multiple times. It is what it is. Thanks for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure.
Of course.
To be on here to chit chat about Yu-Gi-Oh, what we all love. We all have, share that passion, for Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's why I love hopping on and collabing, not just on my channel, but coming here and anywhere else. Just chopping it up. But yeah, YCS Providence was a blast, man. Just being able to go to an event where you have a concentration of 1,500 plus Yu-Gi-Oh players, plus more hundreds of people that are not playing, and we're all together probably 2,000 plus. Just sharing our passions. Again, I always say most people like to play, but for me, trading is where it's at. It's a TCG, a trading card game. And I like to focus on the trading aspect of things. Not a PCG playing card game, but of course, most people play,
Right.
and that's perfectly fine. I even play occasionally, but yeah, so Providence was great, man. It's always good to go to the vendors, pick up deals and steals. Cards that you're looking for, like in the moment, right there. They have such a vast, amount of different cards, and that's what I love about big events as well. Like if I'm looking for that one card, like for example, me, I play Odeon. I love trap decks. I get it's not the best deck or whatever, but I love trap decks. I played Paleozoics back in the days, scrub terrors, like I like to call it. Now I'm playing Odeon, so I want to see our max rarity, judges and all the other cards, man with the marks and the treasures of the kings and all that good stuff. And because of the event, I was able to pick up the entire deck cord, max rarity. That if I go to my locals, or maybe even at a regional, is hard. But when you go to a YCS, everything expands. Like, you could just get access to a lot of cards in the spot without having to buy it online, from vendors and things of that nature. So for me, it was just that a lot of trading, a lot of fun, people coming up, signing Billy Bobs and taking pictures and all that never gets old for me. I always love when people come up, man. It's just an out of this world experience. So for me, it was fun. And then just being at the event, watching the players compete, grind their way to success. Just hearing the stories, going up to people, yo, what are you playing today? Okay, how is yo? I'm 2-1, I'm 3-1. Just being out there, absorbing that energy from such a big event is always a pleasure. So for me, it was just an amazing event, honestly.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, for a lot of people who don't know, well, I asked you this question last week. If we can just go a little deeper on it as well this week. What is it like traveling for you to these events like the YC? I know you said you went to Mexico, and I
Yeah,
know the financial thing. You kind of have your own ways to go around and make the trip worth it because
yeah,
YCS traveling is
yeah,
expensive. So, as somebody who may
yeah,
be potentially listening to that and wants to be a vendor, how should they
yeah.
go about the traveling part? Like, what do you personally do? You don't have to do into everything financial wise, but like, what is your strategy to keep the costs low so that way when you go to the event you can
Sure.
profit? And just for Konami purposes, obviously we're not talking about buying and selling at the event. We do 100% trading at
Nah,
the
nah.
events,
For
no
sure,
buying,
for
no
sure,
selling. All vendors go
for
there
sure.
just to trade, and then they do trading online. And the only buying and selling they do is with the vendors.
Correct, correct. Yeah, great observation. And no, for me, I just try and be smart. I don't go to a trip if it doesn't make sense. Lately, most trips have made sense because I fly budget, I fly on Spirit. I make it work for me. Usually, flights are really, really cheap. For example, in like 2 weeks, I'm gonna go to Philly regional. And the flights were like $100 to go and come back. So at the regional, it's easy. I'm gonna pick up a lot of cards that are gonna be worth more than that when I get home to pick up to sell back on TCG player. So it's just feasible in that sense. Just flying, Frontier, Spirit. I get a lot of bad connotation and reputation with those airlines, but if you're smart about it, it's easy work, man. You hop on your flight, gets you from point A to B. It's cheap, and then just fly a cheap stay. You said Econo lodges, back in the
Oh
day, bro.
man,
Yeah.
bro, I don't know if you ever stayed in the Kano Lodge, bro. That was me and my Naruto team, bro. That was the most sketchiest, chillest, motel. I don't even know if that motel still exists, but bruh,
Nah,
that
I
place was
had to
hella
say it,
tense,
man.
bro. That place was
I
hella
had to.
tense.
Don't go that low. You know, if you have to do
That's
what you do, you know, I just
you
had to
might
get
get
my
bed
guy
bugs in
Rogue
that
with that
motherfucker,
one.
man. You might get bed bugs. Gotta watch out in them places.
Nah, but you know, it just the quality in with the breakfast and everything. You know, it works out. It works out. You
You
know,
hearing the
people
stripper
would be
getting banged on
surprised.
next door?
I mean, you know, just check the reviews and you make it happen. So
Yeah,
I travel on a budget. You know, I travel on a budget. You know, flight is the first thing I always get. Then I move on to the stay, and then we just go on from there. And I know at the event I'm gonna make moves and everything's gonna pan out down the line. So, but again, if you're going to play, is a bit different because you're gonna be a consumer, which is fine, but you're not gonna have a lot of time to trade and pick up value and things of that nature, which is fine. Just have that understanding that you're consuming, you're not making your money back essentially, and it's okay. It's your passion, is what you love to do. That's perfectly fine. But for me, I go out there, trade, hustle in that sense. Go to the vendors, pick up stuff from the vendors, and we play the game. But yeah, I went to Cancun twice the past 2 years. Amazing experiences to travel internationally. To be in that environment where Yu-Gi-Oh in a different country and you get to vacation, it's
right.
like heaven on earth for me, man. So yeah, for me, it's always made sense. I pre-plan ahead of time in the sense at least of the flights, because usually that's the most expensive piece, but yeah, man, it was nice. We met at YCS Houston, and I always tell people if you can do it, not every single event, but you got to get yourself out there. There's too many people out there that were like I was, not too long ago before I started traveling more last year, and we have the channel, so it's a bit different for us. But people need to get out there, man. Those events are just too great to not go to at
Very
least
fun,
once per
honestly.
year to get that
At
exposure,
least
and you get to
Nats.
vacation. Right, right. No, no, yeah, yeah. And then that's just the one. Like if you have to choose, you got to go because last year we went, it was like 3 4 thousand people in one place. I'm like,
Oh my
wow,
god, I didn't go to that one. I
it,
missed that
the
one out.
the room is just, it feels like vast and like it never ends, and you see all these Yu-Gi-Oh players, and you're gonna see, man, we're gonna have such a great time. So yeah, that's what I take from it. For people to at least once a year go to an event, get that exposure, and give yourself a shot. If you're a competitor, if you go to trade, you'll pick up stuff that you'll definitely, it'll be worth it for you. So yeah, it's always, traveling is great. It's expensive for most. For me, shout out to V again. He posted a video where he spent like 18 hundo or something between
Oof.
gas and breakfast and the stay and the flights and all that. But for me, usually I don't spend that much. Maybe 4 or 5 hundo. Keep it on a budget in that sense with everything. But to each their own. At the end of the day, if you can afford it, you go out there and you have fun and you have a good time, and that's the mindset.
Now, is there a specific profit margin you're looking for trade wise when you go to these events? So let's say you're spending 300 500 on your event just to go there, you're probably looking to at least get 1500 in trade value back. I'm assuming that's like the kind of the goal.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel what you mean. Like, what was the goal if I spent 500? How much I get back? For me, at the very minimum, like mentally speaking,
You can say 3x or
I need.
4x or whatever.
No, no, no. I get it. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And like, at least for me, like at a personal level, when you go to an event, you want to profit. You want to come back home with the extra cash. But worst comes to worst, you at least break even. At the very least, break even. And that means that me as a content creator, I got exposure, I got new subs, I traded, maybe I picked up cards that I wanted. I was at the event, I absorbed the energy in the venue. That's like the minimum. The minimum that I expect is that if I'm making this trip, I'm not gonna lose money, especially me, because I'm not playing. So that's like the bare bones minimum mentally. So again, but of course, you at least want a 2x. If you spent 500, you want to go live all those experiences and then come back, with the 2x. Conservative. There's other events you can 3, 4, 5x, and then there's other events that you break even. You know what I mean? So again, it's different playing field every single time. Sometimes it goes better than others, but at the end of the day, that's the mindset. Minimum, break even, expected 2x, and then on the high end, anything above that is just gravy on top.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Lastly,
Yep.
we also talked about what is your main strategy when you go to these events? Like, you don't have to give out all the sauce, but like, what is Jay's like your first day, day zero? You get there, you're signing up. Are you working as soon as you get there? Are you just feeling the vibes and energy in the room? What is
Yeah,
your
yeah,
main
yeah, yeah,
strategy
yeah.
to help people out who want to do this type of thing?
Yeah, no, I call it. I read the room. You know, we read the room. You know, every room is different. Every event is different. You know, there's more or less people. You know, so you read the room, and for me, round one is when everything starts. Before then, if I get there an hour early, I go to the vendors. You know, sometimes they have great deals in the binders, in their penny stock boxes or whatever, you know, or binders, and there's the cheap stuff. You know, you go there and you start picking through and see if you can find deals because, you know, if you're, again, I do market watches, so you have the database in here, you already know your prices, so you can take advantage of that. So that's the mindset. That first hour, you get there, you read the room, you go to the vendors, see if they have any deals, and just walk the floor, feel the energy, see people. Hey, how's it going, man? Just round one starts, just like them players, you know, hone in and their round one starts. That's good. They filter out all the people that I'm looking for, which is people that are at the event that after round one they're not playing. They're not in the players tables. They're in the outside tables in the corners of the room and trading and just sitting there and like chilling McMillan. And that's where we go. We start trading. We start going to work. We start having a good time. You know, reaching out to people, trading, see what they have. You know, and the game starts there. So, and then from there you just trade. You trade the whole day. You know, just like people play the whole day. You trade the whole day. You pick up stuff. You know, you trade and then you move. You know, you pick up something, then someone else wants that, and then you know you do as you must. So again, that's the mindset. You know, and then in betweens, you know, you meet people. People come up to at least me. You know, and like I said earlier, you have all those very nice experiences. So yeah, that's just the gist of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I definitely know what you mean. So when you're trading, I'm assuming there's more people like you who are vendors who go sell their stuff online and not in the venue, of course. When you're trading on the floor, like how often do you run into different vendors and how do you guys go about that? Is it like more like competition amongst each other, like friendly competition? Is it more like, hey, you stay on your side of the room, I stay on my side of the room? Like, I know you say you don't really experience negativity. Have you seen it? Like, what is it really like? Like a walk give us like a walkthrough.
Yeah, nah, when it comes to vendors, man, like you know, there's always like I notice the same people at these events, you know, like that's what they do for a living. They're always in those events and they're always grinding, and that's fine. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's when you go to an event that big, you can't cover everyone, you know, like it's
Right.
just too many people. So there's room for everyone to eat. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of Billy Bobs out there, you know, and we can all eat. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's just the mindset. By the way, Billy Bobs is people that, you know, they buy high and sell low. You know, they don't mind buying at higher prices or
Goofies.
trading their cards away, you know, for less value, whatever. I mean, and again, you asked that last week. We're gonna get into that. Like, you don't want to like sharking or like taking advantage of people in a way where like they go through a negative experience. But at the end of the day, if you're in a trade and you ask them, you triple check, double check, triple check, you're like, yo, you pick anything you want, you good, you know, it's fine. You shake on it, and it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. That's my mindset. You know, so yeah, but that hey, there's room for everyone to eat. When it comes to vendors, you do see them. You know, we see each other, we know each other. But there's a big room of hundreds of people there. Everyone eats.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. That's how I always had there. Even when I used to do my little backpack vending back when I was in my early 20s, I'm like, if people happy with a trade, that's perfectly fine. Like if little Jimmy say, "Hey, I want this blue eyes white dragon," and little Jimmy had a BLS, and I'm like, "Are you sure this BLS is worth money?" Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I just want blue eyes. Okay, at that point, it's like free game. Hey, people
You
like,
know?
oh, you ripped him off. I'm like, I didn't rip anybody off. He's happy. I'm
Nah.
happy. Like the value of cars is perceived per different person. Now it's different if the person said, well, I want to make sure I get my maximum trade and or cash value, but everyone doesn't think that way.
No, yeah, now with TCG player, you know, everyone knows their prices compared to back in the day. But there's some people that, after knowing the price, they're willing to play around or get less value as long as they get the card or cards that they want. You know, so that's why trading is an art. You know, trading is an art, just like playing. You have to be paying attention to the nuances and picking up what your opponent is doing and the way he shuffles and you know the cards that he's playing and the way that he does this and the that, like the nuances, the signs. You know, the same thing. Trading is an art, man. You know, like there's tips and tricks just like we're playing, things you should keep in mind, you know, and to be on the lookout for. And you know, you play the game, and you know, there's some of us that win more than we lose, and you know, that's the whole point of someone going to an event and profiting and you know trading their way to success is about having that experience and making it happen in that way, you know.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. In your opinion, how has trading changed from back in the day when you first started to now? Like, what's the biggest difficulties, pros, cons from back in the day to now?
Yeah, I mean, TCG player, everyone knowing their prices, it makes it hard sometimes. In a way that sometimes if you want a little bit of leeway, if you want, to play around with the numbers or with the prices at where you're picking up stuff via trade and things of that nature. But honestly, again, when I traded as a kid, it was just totally different. You traded for what you wanted, not just like value in a way. So, it just depends. Times change. People have more access to more information now, which is a good thing in general. People should know. So now the margins are thinner. Then the people that are going to have an advantage are people that don't just, oh, let me see on TCG player, but they know beforehand. Because then you can play with that information in a sense where like you already know your prices. You don't have to look them up. And some people don't want to spend time looking up prices and things of that nature. So again, trading is always going to be an art. But yeah, the main difference is that back then you traded for what you wanted. You really weren't like looking for value in essence. As long as that's kind of the same as mine. Let's trade. In that sense. But now is really like more pinpointing value and things of that nature. Not to say that it's better or worse in a sense. But yeah, it's just different. So that's like the main difference that I've noticed.
Okay, because me personally, like I've personally seen, like I feel like TCG player obviously it's a good thing. People know their value, but I feel like it kind of holds the process up because like we'll be in locals and then we'll be trying to trade, and let's say the card I want is 550, and the card somebody else want is $5, $4. They go find
Yeah,
$1 card, and then y'all going tit for tat over every little
exactly.
thing. Then they find a $5 card, and then it turns from like one little minor trade until a big old ordeal of, okay, I get your 5 cards, you get my 6 card. Are you cool with getting ripped off by 50 cents? And then I've literally watched people sit down for literally 30 to 40 minutes. I think there were two separate vendors, and they cannot do the deal over $5 difference. I'm like, get the F out
Yeah,
of here, bro.
yeah,
Like, have you ever
literally.
dealt with that before?
That.
Like, have you ever dealt with that before?
No, no, yeah, yeah. It happens to all of us. Because again, like we said, is technical value is a big thing nowadays. Like just being technical, being precise. Like 50 cents is actually like the max range in many people's eyes. Maybe 50 cents to $1, but if it's over that, people don't stretch it. You know what I mean? Unless it's like expensive cards. We're like, okay, yours is 90, mine is 89, we're good. Like, yeah, but when you start talking about single digits, anything like $10 and below, especially 5 bones and below, then people start getting nitpicky, and making sure that they get the full value back in a way, which, yeah, many different times it can extend trades that should have been long gone, wasting way more time in those. So you make a great point.
Okay. So back to the events. Well, like when you travel to these events, regionals, YCSs, do you find it like after like the first couple? To me personally, if I was doing trading, I'd probably get bored out of my effing mind just doing that all day. I don't see how you got.
Mhm.
Salute to you guys for hustling that hard. Like you
I
guys probably
feel
feel the same
you.
way about us playing Yu-Gi-Oh all day. Probably we're probably bored out
Exactly,
of our mind.
exactly. Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you
We're like, there's
feel?
no way that we're gonna sit through, multiple days of YCSs and like 10 hours,
Right. And
and
just get a different
that's the
game.
beauty of it. Yeah, that's what I love. That's what I love. That we all love the same thing, but there's sub niches, and that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
most
go ahead.
definitely. So I guess my follow up question to that will be like, what is it like? Do you guys like target players who look frustrated after they lost? So we went over this briefly last week in the original interview. Like, how is it like picking up stuff from people on the floor? Do you guys not touch people on the floor? Like actual
No,
playing,
yeah,
competing.
yeah, nah, that's the thing. Like in between rounds, some people like to trade as well. They like to trade. They like to at least get access to that part of Yu-Gi-Oh, even if they're not like us per se, where like you just do it the whole day. Um, it's like me when I go to events. If someone comes out, yo, Jay, let's play Edison, I'll play. So, we like playing. You guys like trading, it's fine. But to a certain extent, right? So those people, yeah, in between rounds, they cross over. If they got an early loss or they won early or whatever, they go with their binders, pick stuff up, and they trade as well. So, I mean, there's no filtering in a way. Anyone. Whoever's in that area, because most players come to that area, they know everyone's trading over there. So it just becomes like everyone that's trading. It's not like nitpicking or are you playing and you're trading or not. You know what I mean? It's just like if you're here, you see some people walk to the area and you're done with the trade, you move on to the next. and you're just doing it all day essentially. Sounds fun for Rogue, right?
Oh man, that sounds like it was fun. After my first, to me, I'm like one of those guys. Like after I get everything I need for my one deck I'm playing, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I might pick
I
up some stuff
feel
like
you.
those Automata Pyros. Like I got my two I ordered online, and I got my one trade from locals. But after that, I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't feel like trade. I don't
Yeah,
even like
you
bringing my
said.
trade binder out. But people are like, let me
Yeah, I
just look
feel
here.
you. I feel you.
Let me just see your
I
binder. You might
feel
have some I
you.
need. I'm like, I guess here you go. You can take a look at it.
No, I get you. I get you. No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think back in the day, like trading was more of a thing.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Trading is more like a lost art. People also they trade for what literally they need. Most people. It's like, oh, I have everything I need. I don't want to trade. I'm like, okay, okay. But me, like people like me, we trade just for the art of it. Like people say, what are you looking for? Let me just see the binder, man. Let me see the brown. We addicted to the brown. Let me just beat the binder, take a look, and see. And I go by what I see. I'm a visual guy, and and we assess. Oh, you have this. I want it, and then we go from there. But most people, they literally trade. Excuse me. Just for stuff they need, literally. Like, oh no, I have what you. Yo, I'm looking for this. You don't have it. Oh, we're not trading. I'm like, damn. So
Oh
it is
wow.
what it is. Yeah, yeah.
So, is there like any particular cars you're looking for? Like, are you looking for like main set cars, or are you looking for like any cars that are any car that's value, or do you just get anything? Do you pick up bulk? Like, what is your process when you shifting through a binder? You just going for all
Yeah.
like the main thing on TCG player? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, me, I like penny stonks, but not bulk. Mainly I'm looking for staples. That's always, in the front of my mind, staples. Just you can never have enough staples. You can never have enough thrust, little knights, ashes, hand traps, and this and that and the third. So that's always my focus. My main focus is trading cards that I bought cheap that went up in price, that are have low liquidity, but like this random person wants it. I want to trade that for staples. That's really the formula. Keeping it simple. You know what I mean? Like, um, if let's say just to use an example, like trap tricks.
Right.
Let's say I bought Rafflesias at $1, for example. Not to say that they were $1, but just an example. And they went up to fives, and I bought 10 of them. I put in $10. I have $50 worth. I want to find, at an event, 10 people that need one. And for each one, I want a $10 card. I want a little knight, for example. So, the goal is flipping 10 Rafflesias, and I might have messed up with the numbers, but that's like the mindset. Like you flip cards that were cheap, went up, and that they're very like low liquidity. Not everyone wants it, but you find people that want it, and then they have staples. You know what I mean? Like that's the mindset. So you're trading cards that they're worth the same value, but again, people are gonna always want staples more. That is hard to trade for staples unless you do staples as well. You know what I mean? Like people will trade you a $10 little knight for a $10 thrust. Yeah, staple for staple, but they don't want to get rid of their $10 thrust for a $10 Rafflesia that was $2 and that people really don't. You know what I mean? Like
So
even though
it
if
jumped up.
technically on TCG player is
Right.
the same price, so me that's what I do. I take cards that are worth around the same thing, and I try and and convince people, or based on what they want. You read them and you're like, oh, yo, you like this? Okay, you want this? Pull it out. You know what I mean? And then once they do, you're like, okay, I want this staple. You know what? So that's the mindset. Yeah.
So it sounds like, from hearing this correctly, it sounds like you work the room, see what people are looking for. If you don't have it, you get what they're looking for. If you know they can, if you know you can get rid of it to them, and then you find them, and then that's when you make your deal from there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, the hunting for in the sense where like because it's hard to keep track of what everyone
Everybody,
wants,
right?
but it's really like just having that's why you take the binder and you already have all that random stuff that people might want that are valuable, and then if they have the staple, then that's what you're looking for. Be like, what do you want from all this, and then that's the art of trading. They'll be like, okay, I want this, I want that, and that's the key, man. That's the key. That's what I do. Just pick up staples, cards that are highly liquid that people are gonna want regardless all the time. Is easy to move, and is easy to sell back home on TCG player as well. So
So when you go to an event, what kind of binders do you bring? Do you always have, like, I know guys I know they do it like locally, different guys. They all have a crap binder, and then they have like the good stuff, and then they have like their high end stuff. Do you have like 3 to 4 binders you carry with you? Well, a lot of guys I know locally, bro, they'll have a backpack that look like they're about to go camping. I'm like, how's your back not hurting, dude? And they have literally
literally,
giant
yeah.
backpacks. They might have their deck if they feel like playing locals, like one of the guys that do the trading, and he buys core. He buys the the boxes online and then trade and sell when he gets his supply in. And he was playing in the locals because it was like a case tournament. So if he does good, he gets more product for his business. Like when you're doing stuff like that, like how do you carry this one binder? Do you do multiple binders? Like people I know, like how does it go for you?
Yeah, now for me, I keep it simple. Especially traveling on a budget, you don't have a lot of room, a lot of space. So I just go with my one binder to the major events. I make sure it's stacked. Sometimes I have cards behind cards, just stacked. You know what I mean? And usually is enough. Because what I realized, I used to take two, three binders, and it was short on space. But then you brought a lot of those little things back. So usually having multiple binders usually is just better at locals where you're local to home. You can drive there. You can have two, three binders perfectly fine. But if you're flying somewhere, I like to condense my value into a single binder. It's easier to track, to keep safe. You just have your one binder. You don't have to, pull out two, three binders and two, three people looking through your binders at the same time and things of that nature. So, for safety reasons as well. And when you're traveling, I like to simplify things. I have one binder. That's where all my value is at. I can keep it near me at all times. And then we just play the game. Locally, two to three binders, that's the play.
Okay, so locally 2 3, traveling, you keep your one binder concise with everything that most people need for the metagame in that range anyway.
Exactly.
So when you're
Exactly.
actually doing like, so what's the biggest difference between like trading? I mean, it's probably the same, but YCS and regions, I'm assuming they're a little different, and locals rather as well. Like YCS, like we'll start with locals, then YCS, then regionals, then YCS, then nationals. I don't know if you've done nationals yet. Like, what's the
Yeah,
difference
yeah,
you've
yeah. I
noticed
went.
between all four?
Yeah, I just went to nationals last year for the first time in Austin. It was great, and then this will be the second year, so we're gonna be there. We're gonna have a blast. But locally, it just depends on your region. There's some locals that are hot. They on point. A
Yeah,
lot of trading
mine
going
same.
on all the time. Yeah, a lot of vending. And backpack vendors and a lot of this and a lot of that. In my locals here in Orlando, it's trading game is kind of weak. It's kind of weak. It's more like playing PCG, playing card game. We play, we compete, we want to top, and things of that nature. And that does extend, at least again, regional Orlando in my case. So locals and regional is just depending on your area. Regional is the same thing compared to other regionals. Is again the trading game is kind of weak, but regionals is nice. You get people from different parts of Florida, so it bumps up in the sense of tradability and cards that you can pick up and things of that nature. So regionals are all right. Locals not that much, but there's still levels to regionals. Because I'm gonna be going to the Philly regional, for example, in 2 weeks, and that one is popping. Double the amount of people. It's like a mini YCS. So there's levels to the different regionals and things of that nature. But usually regionals gets a bit better, and then obviously you go to a YCS and Nats happens once a year. So YCS you have multiples of these a year for the most part. So that's like the pinnacle, man. It's like you don't even need more. Nats is just a cherry on top. But YCS's, man, it's just everything in one place. Any card that you want, any card that you're looking for, just endless amount of people. You're gonna always be trading. There's not like, oh, okay, at a regional you feel like you get to the point where you can trade with everyone, or most people that went there to do that. But at YCS's, you get through a lot, but there's a lot of people, a lot of different cards, a lot of different binders. So it's like heaven on earth. And then Nats is just insane. Nats is wild
It's like
because
clearance. It's a clearance
you
rack.
well, yeah, yeah. No, Nats is insane because people are gonna be, getting rid of their cards, taking a break from Yu-Gi-Oh and
70%
and
off.
things. Yeah, yeah. They're like, I'm already. Hey, I scrubbed out. This is what I played for the whole year. Here, take this. I'm done, and let's trade. And so it's different in that sense. And then there's just thousands and thousands of people. So you feel like you can't. It's too much. So you go with the flow, and you're trying to control what you can control, and you get things done based on those experiences. But it's a blast, man. So nationals is just epic. It's a once a year thing, and you do as as much as you can. But you try and take of those opportunities, advantage of those opportunities of people just, hey, I'm quitting for the next 2 3 months, taking a
Right.
break. I'm going summer back home, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. But other than that, YCS is like the perfect balance, man. Honestly, it's like anything other than that is just a cherry on top.
Okay, that's what's up. So how do you guys survive like the off season of Yu-Gi-Oh during trading? Is it still popping? I know prices go down post nationals. Do you guys take a break? Do you just play more? Like how? What is that like for people like that's in your craft?
Yeah, so I mean, in my case, because it's been 2 years with the channel. I came in like March 2023, so I was able to cover that Nats and then last year's Nats, and I realized 2023 not so much, but this past Nats was the first one where we had rarity collections. The first one where I thought the markets were gonna dump as they usually do, but they didn't dump as much. I think Konami changed. I think there was a bigger break in between Nats and like the first event. There used to be like a month, 2 months, 3 months. Like there used to be that gap where everyone
Right.
knew, prices crash, and no one cares about Yu-Gi-Oh. Everyone's in the summer break and this and that and the third. Last year wasn't like that. Last year Nats was done, and then they had like regionals like a week or two. It felt like it was like,
Like
I'm
here,
like,
here
what
we
is going on,
buy
bro? I'm
more
like, what?
products.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the break? And that's how it felt last year. For the first time, it felt like you Nats was done and regionals in 2 weeks. Like, what is going on? So, so again, if it keeps on that same pace, which it's likely, I think based on the scheduling and things of that nature, those times of like a break of a month, 2 months, no, it's like no, you're done. Everyone's already hunting for their inv for the that year, the following year.
Right.
So of course there's still a crash. We expect a multi-week crash. Just the initial we I'm done with Yu-Gi-Oh, played for a year, went multi days and nets, and I'm burnt out. And you get that first week, 2, 3, but then Draco Tales and K9 and this
Yep.
and that, and then people start getting rehyped immediately, and they want to go to the first regional, and then they're gonna get prepared for the first YCS of the season, and it just revamps back up. That's what I noticed last year. I expect the same this year. So it's gonna be fun for us, for me to cover those markets. So
So in short, y'all still gonna eat.
yeah, not thanks to last year, there's enough food year round, man. We ain't going
Shout out to the
hungry,
Billy Bobs selling their decks and
Yo,
back
shout out to
at
them
triple the value.
Billies. Yo, we can't live without them, man.
Oh man, so how do you feel about people that do that? Actually, I mean, I know you make the joke Billy Bob, but I briefly touched on it in a recent video where I'm just like, there's people who literally like it's just so important having a Staples binder. Like, there's people I've literally seen sell everything, and I've done this myself. I've been to Billy Bob, got rid of my. I don't need evenly
Yeah,
matched. Let me get rid of this
yeah,
crap.
we've all done it.
2 weeks
Yeah, we've all
later,
done
hey
it.
man, I need me an evenly matched. It's good
Yeah, yeah,
again.
yeah,
It's $30
yeah.
now. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and trade you
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this. Get ripped
literally,
off.
yeah, we've all done it, man. We've all done it. So, usually when it comes to Billy Bob, I say we've all done it, but you don't want to make it something that is highly frequent in your
Right.
life, where you're doing that all the time. You don't care about value, you're not educated about prices, and you're just willy nilly out here. Oh, I need that. It doesn't matter. Nah, like that's where you got to be careful. It does matter. These
Yeah.
cards ain't free. If you do it right, then you can get double the amount of cards or save half off. If the timing is right. So, eh, I mean, that's my goal. We laugh about it, and it's a meme in the channel because my goal is to convert as many Billy Bobs as we can. Into people like us that are educated. That we know our prices, and that we understand the game, and we reward ourselves by coming in early or saving money. For a $10 card today that was fives, we picked it up at fives. We don't pay that 2x premium, and just that's the mindset. So yeah, I mean, we have funs and games with it. We made a meme out of it, but the point is to convert Billy Bobs. To convert people that have been struggling, man. Because I'm telling you, we've all struggled at some point with the markets. Coming in
Right.
at the wrong time. Buying too high, selling too early, things of that nature. So it's a roller coaster. It's an emotional roller coaster. That's what I say. Emotions get the best out of us. Yo, I need that, man. And I need that card right now. And I'm playing Rizio, and now I need Automatopia and Pyro, whatever. And I need
Right.
this, and I need it, man. Because if I don't have it, I'm gonna go to locals, and I need it. So I don't care about price. That's good. So that means you should have been earlier. You should
Yeah.
have been here before Rogue bought it out. You know what I mean? And became a
Nah.
market watcher, and now a
Oh
$3
man.
card is 10. You know?
That's wild.
Nah, but yeah,
That's how I be though. That's how I be like I've literally that's why I
yeah.
haven't recently. I still got my hero deck. I still got my Yubel deck. My Fire
Right,
King
right.
deck is in my bulk somewhere. So
For
and I still
sure.
got my Monarch deck. So it's like I got all the decks I like to play just sit in a pile.
For sure.
If it's
For
a deck I
sure.
know I'm not gonna touch, I'll get rid of it. But like the main decks I like Yubel, Heroes, and Rizio, those are gonna just go to my trade binder. They're gonna sit there until like they get used again. That way I don't be
Exactly.
that way I
Yeah,
don't be a Billy Bob.
No, 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 for sure. You know, I mean, it's just it's rough, man. It's rough when you see a card at $10 and then it's 20s, and then you start feeling that emotional regret. You should have came in early, or vice versa. A card of yours was $20 and you come in today's five. You know, so that's the value of market watch. It's just staying in tune, staying informed with the prices of your card, because we're all card owners. We all have cardboard, you know, and it has value. You know, it doesn't matter if people, oh, I don't care about the markets or this and that and it is what it is, man. It has value. What you own has value. So if you decide to capitalize it on that or not, you know, to each their own. You know, there's people that care more, there's people that care less. That's fine. It's a market, you know. But us, we care about it. We care about, you know, the green, like I like to say, our hard-earned money. You know, recycling that purchasing power, and just make sure that we're in tune with our value. You know, of making the right moves to get more cardboard or save money and not pay the premium. So that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
That's what's up. So, since you do have a YouTube channel now, you've been at it for about 2 years, if I heard it correctly, and you have the
Yes.
internet fame now. How has that changed for you when it comes to trading and going to events? Is it all love? Do you run into like haters? Do you run into people who don't want to deal with you because they know who you are? Or do you feel like people always feel like, oh my God, he's trying to pull one up on me? He's a vendor. He knows things I don't know. Like how? Because me personally, like I'm a competitive player, and I'm not the best player in the world, but I do. I think I'm better than average. I say I know I'm better than average. So I've had points in my life, especially once I started doing really good years ago. I would want a card, and people just wouldn't give it to me because they think it's good. They think I know something. And they okay, Chris is a competitive player. Let me not trade Chris X card because this card might be good because he wants it. Is it the same thing with vendors, or how does that go?
Yeah, no, I mean, in my case, at big events, you know, most people don't know me. So, you know, there's people that come. I don't trade much with people that do know me. So it's ironic, but we do. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the person across from you. It's about the cardboard. So, you know, if I have something you want and vice versa, it is what it is. You know, are you willing to get rid of it or not? No, okay, that's fine. You know, and then you move on. You know, but at the end of the day, trading is trading. You know, I haven't had any negative experiences like, oh, because it's you know, I don't want to trade or whatever. No, everyone is open to it. You know, there's gonna be people that want, most people want to, someone, you know, some people no or whatever, you know, but it hasn't been like, oh, you're that guy, or I don't want to trade with you because if you're picking it up, it means it's a good pickup right now, so I shouldn't get rid of it. No, sometimes I tell, you know, like, nah, I wanted this, but nah, leave it here, man. It's gonna go up. Literally,
Yeah.
you know, that's the process. You know, when I try and trade with people. But yeah, there's gonna always be a couple, you know, what I call bad apples and things of that nature, because it's all about chemistry as well. When you trade, there's some people, you know, that especially like if there's other vendors, it's hard to trade with other vendors because maybe they have something you want, but you both know the game, and it's like you're trying to play each other in a way, and that's why I start. Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
for real.
I don't
Okay.
like. Yeah. I don't like trading with our own peeps in a way. You know, if anything, send me a couple Billy Bobs and I'll send you a couple too. You know, so that's like the mindset, because it's it's like trading with yourself in a way. So unless, you know, but again, even between vendors, if I have something you want and vice versa, that's just the cardboard costs what it costs. Let's make it happen. You know, where we both benefit each other. But yeah, that's been my experience. You know, overall when it comes to that.
Yeah, like I notice vendors near me or backpack vendors near me, they either work together when they go to events or they just do their own thing separate. There's really no in between. Sometimes
Exactly.
there's like a team, they'll do it like as a team thing. Okay, you get this, I get this. Then okay,
Yeah,
you
it's
go
not
your way,
that
I go your
common.
way. But yeah.
It's not that common, but I know there's two vendors that work together, and they got years. You know, they started young, and they have chemistry, and there's some next level stuff. So, and that's why it's not common. It's hard for you to trade with someone else, you know,
Right.
because everyone has their own you know, goals when trading, and you know, expectations and things they want to achieve with their cardboard. So it's kind of hard, but yeah, I mean, the teamwork is a dream work. If there's chemistry and it works, you know, why not? But that's not for everyone. Most people go at it alone. You know, I've noticed on the floor, most people are just trading alone. But there's always a couple, you know, and it's nice. It's nice, you know, learning from them and seeing how it works for some people. You know.
So back to trading on a floor, what is it like? You know, security wise? Can you give you guys people a synopsis of how you secure yourself at said events? Like, what do you make sure that you're not getting your stuff stolen. How people make sure your bag is always locked. Like, what do you do to make sure things go well when you go to these events?
Yeah, no, I mean it's just common sense in a way. Just keep your binder always near you. Try and trade with one person at a time. You know, because some people maybe, oh, I'm done with this binder. Can I give it to him? You know, just be like, nah, wait, let me finish
That's
this
how they
deal,
get
and
you.
then we move on to
That's
you.
the setup.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you gotta respect the deal for what it is. If you're focused on one deal, just hone in on that. Get it done and then move on to the next. No need to do multi deals, especially if you're alone. Now again, when I go to events, there's people that I've seen before, and sometimes we walk the floor together, or they're at a table, and I'm there with people I know, and then people come to us and things of that nature. So it helps when you're not literally out alone out out there. But again, a lot of trading does happen alone, so you're just always with your binder. That especially for people like us, it's easier for the binder to get lost for Yu-Gi-Oh players because you're there to play. You're just
Right.
trading in between rounds, and yeah, my binder, my deck. Oh my, it's like with your deck box.
That's
It's
how
the
people get their
same
deck
thing.
stolen. They go to
No,
trade,
no.
leave their deck on the table, and then where my deck go? Should have been traded.
Exactly. No, no,
Should have kept your eye
but
on the
usually
prize.
most Yu-Gi-Oh players don't lose their decks. Most Yu-Gi-Oh players, they do not lose their decks because they're babies. That's what they're there for. They're there to play.
They're
Every
expensive
time. Oh,
too.
I'm done. Let me put it in my bag. Oh, I'm done. I'm this. I'm that. Okay, here's my deck. Binders for us is the same. That
Yeah.
is why we're there. So, we hey, we take care of it, and we just common sense. Watch your surroundings and just keep it in mind, like always, yo, everything's safe. Okay, I'm trading with one person. Okay, my binder's here. Okay, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Oh
So,
yeah, 100%. Common sense ain't so common. I think I mentioned to you that story I saw when I was at Nationals in like 2015. This dude walked by. I don't know why he tried to steal from these big dudes. They were like some Samoan looking dudes. Or they might have been like mixed
mm,
with black or something. I don't know. They were some big dudes though. And he tried to swipe their bag off their chair. One grabbed him by the collar, said, "You move, we're gonna beat your ass." And he froze up and turned pale to pink. I was like, "Yo, what was that kid
hey,
thinking?" He thought he had it
nah, for
moving.
real.
And
No, and I
he didn't know
mean,
those guys were all together too, because they were like at one
yeah, yeah,
table.
yeah. He thought,
Then there was a guy
yeah,
that was sitting behind them, but he was part of their crew. It was like at least six dudes. He did not know. He thought it was about this one dude trading, distracted. He tried to swipe his bag off. I'm literally, and I was sitting there watching him. I'm just, you sitting down after you're around. You might have lost. I forgot if I lost or won. I'm just chilling, and I just saw him walking, and he looked at shady. So I'm paying attention to him, and he literally tried to grab it off the dude's chair, and that's when Buddy turns around and grabbed him by his neck. I'm like, yo, that's wild.
yeah. No, I
And they held him
mean,
till the cops came.
he thought wrong. And now in
Surprise,
Yu-Gi-Oh, that
motherfucker.
doesn't. Nah, now in Yu-Gi-Oh, we all grew up. You used to, not that it can't happen because we're human, but
Right.
you saw those things more back in the day when when people are younger, they're more susceptible to
Yeah.
do like stupid stuff and things of that nature. So now it happens less, but we still have to be responsible, and make sure that we take care of our own stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Oh yeah, that's honestly the community has gotten better over the years.
it has,
When it
it
when it
has, it
comes to
has.
trading, there is a big issue with I guess people stinking in the user community. Have you ever traded with any smelly vendors, smelly people? Do the smell stick to the cards? Do you avoid cards that smell like ganja? Like what do you go about? How do you go about that?
No, yeah, no, everything those things has happened to most of us, but it's not as common, as people
Right.
maybe make it seem. It is what it is. It's hard when you go to an event and you're dueling for so many hours or trading for so many hours. It comes with it. It's natural that, hygiene would be a thing, but there's some people that take it to an extreme, and it's occasional, but it's nothing really that it'd be like a thing, but most you don't see it. At least I don't see it
Me
as
neither,
much. We're
honestly.
like, oh man, this card is dirty, or this card, no, it's not commonplace,
Smells like wet
So
dog. You're like, whoa, why does this car smell this way? Be like the anime with My Valentine. She had her car smelling different, so she know how to cheat.
Mm.
So, what are, in your opinion? I know we kind of went over a little bit of pros and cons. What are their main pros and cons of vending and doing what you do?
Yeah, I mean, so again, it takes a lot of work in a way, which could, it's a con. I guess everything takes work, a lot of work, but just staying on top of everything, keeping things safe, like we discussed, making sure you're trading with just one person, just having to deal with a lot of different people, and just walking the floor. Usually it's something that is very tiring, where with playing you're like always like sitting for the most part. When you're trading, yeah, you sit to trade, but you have to walk in between tables and try and find people to trade and things of that nature. And yeah, sometimes also, the pros is obviously the reward. Just being able to capitalize and buy cards for cheap and take it to an event and trade it at a higher value. You can reward yourself, pay for your event, or profit as well. So that's obviously, a pro. And then another pro is just, if you love it, it's just is an art. Just like playing, that same feeling you get once you go to your next round and your 2-1 and your 3-1 and your 4-1. Same thing when you bought a card for $2 and you trade it for 10 or 15. It feels good. It feels good. It feels like the work you put in is paying off. So those are the little things, that you can notice, and that it makes it all worth it for us, for people like us that prefer to do that, just like you guys when you play.
And we made
So
like
again,
day two
just
or whatever.
yeah, exactly. Our day two is when we go back to the hotel and we, take all the things we picked up and go through them. You're like, we ate good. You know what I
We
mean?
got
Our
so many
day
Billy
two went
Bobs
well.
today. Like, man, there's a lot of Billy Bobs in the room.
Yeah, when the first thing I do when I get to an event is take a picture of the event and say, "Man, look at all these Billy Bobs out here, man. We ready. We ready to eat, bro. We ready to
Dog.
eat, bro." Yeah, the game is too easy, bro.
Oh man, that's freaking hilarious. So it sounds like there's really not a. It's really sounds like there's more pros than cons. And all honestly, made me want to be a vendor.
Yeah, no, vending. It has again a lot of reputation, negative connotations, and like sharks and people taking advantage of you and manipulating this and that and the third. Most of the time, it's just plain old trading, man. It's like we both check our prices. You want this, I want that. It's just that when you check the price, it's 10, but you don't know I got it for 2. That's what it comes down to. That's the core and the essence of it. Being early, let it go up, trade low liquidity cards for high liquidity cards. And just play the game, man. It's an art, but for people like us that love it, is the name of the game, and we wouldn't prefer it any other way.
I definitely understand that, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. So as far as getting your trade binder started, what's the best way to start a trade binder? Like, how did you build your collection when you first started getting back into trading? Like, when you started from zero, did you just buy a product, throw it in a binder, and trade it? Did you start going to locals, opening up packs from doing good, and started trading? Like, how did you build your binder up?
Yeah, so I mean, there's never been a better time to build a binder in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Tins are pretty. They've been fire the past couple of years. Not necessarily the pull rates, but just great singles, man. Like recently with Vanquish Soul stuff is a perfect example. Cards from going from pennies to $30, just wild. People needing play sets. $3 becomes a hundo. Where do you see that, man? It's just insane. So I mean, there's never been a better time to get exposed to creating a trading binder, to building a collection. Honestly, with these rarity collections, they have nostalgic cards and meta relevant cards in many different rarities. So again, there's never been a better time. I always tell people, if you're starting from scratch, take 50, $100, skim through the rarity collections, get secret rares and above, and just live with the results. Go for the staples first and then trickle down to cards maybe you think could go up in the future and things of that nature. Just build a binder. It's easy. It's easy. And there's no better feeling, bro, than like I said, you have a $2 card, you trade it for 10 and you needed that $10 card and it costs you $2. Like that feeling is just marvelous because Yu-Gi-Oh is ever changing. Yu-Gi-Oh
Right.
is always evolving. If a Draco Tales comes out, you're gonna be like, yo, this shitty Rise deck, man. Yeah, I got
Right.
6 months out of it. Damn, I need that $100 Draco.
It's like having a
All right,
card.
let me
Let
let
me
me
turn it in and go get the new one.
yeah. But then when you got five $20 cards that you got for 5 each, you paid $20 for $100 card. You didn't even notice. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You mean what I know? So it adds up, man. It adds up throughout time. And at the end of the day, as humans, who doesn't, like I say, the game ain't free. Who doesn't want to save money or make money? Why not? Yeah, it's a hobby. A lot of people, oh, my side hobby is just Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yu-Gi-Oh is not an investment. It's just this is what I do to get away from the family and the job. And it's just I'm a consumer and I feel good buying cards. That's fine. But while doing that action, you can also be responsible. You can also be educated. You can also know your prices, and you can also extract value from the hobby that we all love. Why not, man? Why not? Yo, let's say you want one star rise, that costs $5. But if for the same $5 you could get three, you're gonna say no. Everyone would say yes, even
Of
if you only
course.
need one. You put the other two in a binder. It looks nice in there because it was free, right? So that's the mindset. That's the mindset, man. Just treating the hobby, respecting it for what it is, because independently from people's opinions, there's a market out there. There's always people buying and selling cards. There's always people overpaying, or us, we underpay and we come in at the right time and things of that nature. So it's already out there. So why not give yourself a shot to either make an extra couple of bucks that maybe may help you pay for an event, or save money, and being able to get this, more and more cards for the same amount that you would have spent as well. So, that's the mindset.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So it sounds like you just pretty much starting off 50 to 100 bucks. You hit rarity
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
collections. What about structure
yeah,
decks?
yeah.
Do you think structure decks are good investments as well for people like that? Like just
Mm,
cracking them and putting them in the binder?
ah,
Cause like for
nah,
example,
that,
the most recent structure deck, the imperms went up. They're common. I think it was
yeah,
like
no, no.
15s.
Yeah, but then you buy the singles. You buy the singles because the thing is, the structure decks. No. Structure decks are a great value.
Yeah, so you get it for like 10 bucks
But
each, like at Walmart or something like that,
no,
maybe.
exactly. They were great value. These past structure decks, they were great value. It is not bad at all. But I mean, again, usually like imprims got to be like around $2. It's better to get five imprims than a structure deck. Because now those imprims are 4 to 5s. You up 2x. Price of the structure deck's still the same. And of course, some people say, "Oh, but if you keep it sealed and you wait a year, they're gonna double and triple." Yeah, but it's opportunity cost. What could have you been doing with that money inside that structure deck? Because imprims are gonna 2 or 3x quicker because this is a staple. People need it. Look, it's already up 2x from the lows. Already, and the structure deck's still around 15 or probably less than 20. So again, it's opportunity cost. Having your money stuck in them structure decks is not gonna benefit you. Maybe in the long run, but again, at the end of the day, it comes down to liquidity, how liquid something is. And what does that mean, Rogue? Liquid is how fast and easy it is for you to move it. If you want to move three structure decks, it's way harder to move three structure decks than to move the same value inside imperms. Is easier. Is easier. If you have $30 worth of imperms, you'll move it way quicker at a higher price sooner than waiting for you to move the structure decks at a 2x, trying to keep it simple. So that's, for me, staples, liquidity matters. There's a lot of people that buy sealed. That's fine. You're going to be up 2, 3x in a year, 2 years, three. That's good. You're going to have that extra money, but it's going to be stuck inside a product that is harder to move than if you would have put that same value into staples. So I keep it simple.
So I do know you like your penny stocks, and that's a great point. So thanks for adding that
Yeah,
on. I do know
of course.
you're a fan of your penny stocks, but do you ever go
Yes.
for like the higher rarity stuff, like the QCRs? Let's say, for example, a QCR is $100, whatever it is, and
Yeah, no, no.
it's a staple.
We call it heavy stunks. We call
Okay,
it heavy stunks. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. In our channel, we have basically three categories: is penny stunk, mid stunks, and heavy stunks.
okay.
Penny stunks usually is pennies, but we keep it $5 and below just to make it reasonable. Mid stunks are double digits. In the teens, and the 20s, and the 30s. Usually a heavy stonks is $50 and above. Of course, it's gonna be maybe a $50 card is cheap for rich people, so for them it's a penny stonk. But
Right.
just trying to keep it in general, keep it in general. Usually cards that are $50 and above, mostly 100 and above, but anything 50, it's like a heavy stonk. Yeah, no. Of course, we all have had it all at some point. But it goes back to what we were talking about. Like again, if you buy a $50 card, it's harder for it to become 100 than a $1 card to become two. So that's really what it comes down for me. It comes down to that. It's easier for a $1 card to become five than a $50 card to become 250.
No, that
You know
makes
what I
sense.
mean? And,
Yeah.
and then and then on top of that, once it does become 250, it's harder for someone to know that the card was $50 and they're gonna spend 250 than if it was a dollar. People five, yeah, I need it, man. $5 here. Take my $5 bill. You up 5x. Easy money. But and then third point is liquidity. Is cars that are cheap have high liquidity. Like we said, easy to move. People want it. It's cheap. Oh, $1 here, two, three here, five. When a card is 100 and plus, you think it thrice, not even twice. You think it thrice before
Right.
you spend that $100 bill, maybe one card, and you need three. Halfway through, you're like, you know what? I don't need this card anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Right.
spend 300 for a playset. You know. So again, that's just the mindset. That's why I love penny stocks. There's room for everything. Sometimes we talk about heavy stocks, mid stocks, talk about it all. But our main focus in my channel is cheap cards that can become money. You know, the 2X's, the 3, the 5X's, the 10X's, man. $1 card becoming tens. Beautiful. You had a play set, $3 becomes 30. Beautiful, beautiful.
So it sounds like your main buyer is the competitive player. It's not really like the collector, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, and it all comes down to the same thing.
Right.
Liquidity. Collectors are very nitpicky. They're mostly heavy stonks. You know, after they already have the card, they already have it. You know, but so it's hard to find more collectors that are gonna want the 9 copies, the 18 copies you have. But with the competitive players, Staples is always hot, is always moving. Rogue has a buddy that he's coming back into Yu-Gi-Oh right now. He needs triple imperms. He needs triple ashes. He needs his thrust and his this and that and the third. They don't need no dark magician from LOB or you know, Blue Eyes and all that. You
You
know
might
what
want to
I
play
mean?
it. There's those people. I want my LOB Blue Eyes to
You
play Blue Eyes deck, but I get what you mean.
you know, which is all good and well. To each their own. You know, if there's people out there, you can make the money, but it ain't liquid. You know, I ain't sitting on a car for 5 years and move it at a 2X. Nah, bro, we don't do that. We got them staples. We got them cars that are hot. We got them Fuwalos at 15s, and they're going to be
There you go.
30s one of these days, and we're going to be at up 2X living that life. We're going to pick up Perulas at 25 to 30s when Rogue said it, now they're 60s. Those are the plays.
Oh
Those are the
man.
plays. We listen to the market watchers like Rogue. Nah, man, all funds and games. But that's the mindset. You know, that's the mindset.
Right.
Yeah. So collectors, that ain't my cup of tea. But to each their own. It is what it is. Yeah.
So do you know that about vendors who specifically target collectors? Is that a thing, or do most vendors typically target the competitive players?
Yeah, most vendors just go for the competitive players because we chasing the moves, you know, and collectors they sleep on their cards. Yeah, they might be willing to pay a premium for the cards they need, but there's not too many out there, man. There's not like Pokemon where like they're literally everyone's a collector, no one plays and things of that nature.
Oh
Yu-Gi-Oh is
man.
about playing. It is what it is, bro. So you know the money, the true money,
Right.
is chasing the meta relevant staples, hot cards that people need and are high in demand. Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing Pokemon vending? Like, I would assume the skills will transfer over, especially if they have a big collector's market too. So probably get a lot more business.
Yeah. No, it does transfer over. I do have a Pokemon binder, but I'm a very casual, you know, investor into Pokemon. But yeah, I do have Pokemon cards, but it's just that Yu-Gi-Oh takes up so much time, and you know, it comes down to like money that I'm putting into Pokemon. I just prefer to put it again into Staples and Yu-Gi-Oh and things of that nature. So if there's any spare cash, a new set comes out from Pokemon, maybe let me pick up these 2, 3 cards that are $5 and below. I get exposure, but you know, Pokemon is expensive, man. You know, because again, like we just said, collectors, you know, like people don't mind spending 50, a hundo. Oh man, that Mewtwo's 300. I want it, you know, and yes, most people just want one, but price ain't a problem in the sense of but then it's a higher entry price for you, you know, as an investor. Like if you come with 50, $100, it ain't gonna cut it. You know, you're not gonna have enough inventory to really make a dent, and it'll take a lot of time to grow. You need to start probably with a band and above. Where with Yu-Gi-Oh, $50, $100, you buy staples, rarity collection cards. Man, in 2 to 3 months, you're gonna be up 2, 3 hundo, 5 hundo, and then you know you go on from there. So.
Oh wow, I ain't know it. The game is that easy. Listen to my boy. If you want to be a vendor, listen to this podcast, man.
Nah,
Um,
for sure. It's easy money.
so for people who made it this far in the podcast, I think we're almost on an hour right now, maybe give or take. What do you think are some good pickups for people to look into?
Yeah, nah. Again, I mean, usually on the channel, you
Like
know, every
right
week.
now, modern pickups.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But usually on the channel, every weekend we go over on cards that you know you should be buying. This weekend we focus on the tins. Last year's tins in August, like no one remembers that anymore. People just focus on the latest and greatest when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, the next hot thing. Allen, Alliance Insight, and you know, and then after that, Duelist Advance, and in between battles, of Legend Monster Man. That's all gonna well. We do it because that's future money too. But we can't forget about the past. I always have a phrase: when they forget, we remember. And look, right now, who else does this? We're talking about the tins in 20 midway through 2025. Tins that came out last August. No one does that, and there's still great value. There's still great opportunities, and to get exposure to cards from there. So yeah, I mean, I literally made an episode. If people want to go more in depth, like, yo, what should I be buying right now that's hot? You know what I mean? I mentioned the Vanquish Soul Trap. Lately they played at one. No one was looking at it, and now, yo, there was hundreds of sales. I went back to see that. Is wow.
Oh my
Some
God.
one person got like 647. I'm like, they're cheap though. They were like
Okay.
15 cents or whatever.
I'm like, you
But
calling
it's
the buyout,
insane to
man?
see that. No, no, no. It's wild, bro. People out here, I mean, Carter's still cheap, and there's a lot. There's another seller with like 400, but it's wild. Yeah, so it's just meta relevant cards. Like, if you want a more in depth analysis, make sure you go check out, our latest and greatest market watches. But yeah, just meta relevant cards that are cheap. Penny stonks. Stampede is a great buy right now, just overall. And honestly, if I need to make a recommendation, it'd be Ashes, Sky Crises, and Fawalos from Stampede. That's what I'm focusing on from the set. That's what's hot right now. And I think they're at great prices right now. After you're a month and a week or two in, most people are looking forward to Battles of Legend and the Chibi yards and this and that and the third. That's good. You go backwards and focus on Stampede now when the prices are low before they start running rampant and the set starts getting hard to get and Roll can't get winning packs from Stampede and crack them open
Yeah.
anymore. And and
Right.
the stores run out and then scarcity kicks in. So right now, that's what I would be focusing on if I would be looking forward to buying some Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart, man. Honestly, especially like how you said, look back, so that way
Yeah.
people forget because
Yeah.
a lot of cards
Yeah. People
go
forget.
low. You go pick it up while it's low, then you sell high. So it's
I'm telling
like
you,
throughout this
people.
entire
Yeah.
conversation, everything is pretty much going back to buy low, get rid of it while it's high, but paying attention to the market and studying and doing your research. You can't just come into this blind. Like,
For
what is
sure.
the?
For
I
sure.
don't know if I asked you this, but I just asked you again just to wrap things up soon. What is the biggest mistake you see vendors do get wrong when they first start? And what is the final goal for you as a vendor? Do you want to own a shop one day? Is this something you're just going to do on the side for the rest of your life? Like, what's the when it's all said and done? What is your goal for the vending thing?
Yeah, no, the first big mistake, not just vendors, anyone, is lack of education, man. Because it's not just like the vending, oh, he's a guru, he's making hundreds and thousands of this or that. It's even at the local experience, just making a little trade here or there. It all comes down to education. It all comes down to exposure, to prices, to monitoring the cardboard, analyzing trends and price action and the charts, like we always say on the channel. There's an art to it, man. Like I say, there's an art to trading. There's also an art to investing into any type of market. Just like there's an art to playing and the way you play, your style, and things you keep in mind, and how many transactions your brain can process, and things of that nature. So it all goes is all the same. It's just what we decide to apply our brain power in a sense and get educated and invest our time into when it comes to the market. So I mean, yeah, that's just the way to go, man. It's all about education and knowledge and getting exposure. And that's what I do every day. We do daily market watches to stay on top of the markets because there's so many things moving all the time. That's what gives you an edge. Just like when you play, you go on dueling book and you grind for hours and you play test against the best decks and these lines and if I hand trap this and that and the third. Same thing. That same grind is about the knowledge that you can have as a player. Same thing is knowledge about the markets. It gives you an edge and it gives you who doesn't want to make even if it's side money, man.
Right.
Who doesn't like the green, man? Doing what they love. I just it's so surprising to me. Some people, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said earlier, is not an investment and you can't make money with Yu-Gi-Oh. This is just a hobby. I'm like, come on now.
You
Hey
guys are
Billy.
scammers. You can stop scamming people.
Yo, Billy, stay on it, man. You're gonna be the one coming to me up 2, 3, 5x, 10x down the
Right.
line because you're gonna need the card I got. You know what I mean? So
And once again, what is your when it's all said and done? What is your main goal for vending? Like, do you
yeah,
plan on
no,
doing?
my main goal, I mean, it'd be cool, to own a shop. You always hear those stories, never open a shop, it's not profitable and this and that and the third. But then again, there are profitable shops. There's the Gamers Choices, the Walls of China, and things of that nature. People that, big stores and big locations, and they've been there for years and they've been, all good and well. So, it's hard. It's hard for mom and shop, mom and pop store shop, like you starting by yourself with no capital. Of course, you're gonna set up to fail, but eventually, of course, it'd be nice to take vending to a different level and being able to have, a store where, maybe the brand grows enough to the point where that, maybe I could have my own shop one day. That'd be pretty cool. I won't lie. So that's definitely, inside the bucket list of goals when it comes to vending and Yu-Gi-Oh to get to that level for sure.
That's what's up. So mainly owning a shop one day. 'Cause I know a lot of people locally who own shops, and they were just competitive players. They used to play competitively, got into vending, and then now they're shop owners. And one guy I know that did that. He was a backpack vendor for the longest. He eventually got into Funko Pops, and now that's his thing. The other guy I know, he actually the owner of my shop quality game I go to a lot. He I know he's played competitively back in the day. Does a little vending. Now he has a store. Him and his wife they do like flea market shows, sell like the toys, and so the vending evolved for them into like a big business of like buying and selling collectibles, toys, things like that. So that's pretty much like your end goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for a lot, man, when it comes to vending and there's a lot of different products and things of that nature. But yeah, man, having a shop one day, definitely, and even to the point, because again, I'm Dominican, so it'd be a dream to go back to the island, and also
Okay.
have, not just a shop here, but one down there too, which is a lot, man. It's not like short-term goals or none of that. It'll take a lot to get it done, but we're talking long term. Long term, it'd definitely be a dream of mine to open a shop. There's already a couple official OTSs down there, so just being able to become one more, and then obviously have something wherever I live here too. That's definitely something that I'd consider down the line. Not short term, but long term is definitely on that. But shorter term is just expanding the channel. Continue to positively impact people's lives, continue to provide value, and just to hear those stories in the comments, man. People, Jay, thanks to you, I've made so much money, I've saved so much money. That's why we're here. Same with you, providing that value.
Right.
Yo, Rogue, thanks to you, I topped at locals, and I went from being a scrub to going 4-0, and and it's all thanks to this and that. So that's why we're here to share the love and the passion that we have for the game and to positively impact people's lives.
That's what's up, man. That was a professional speech right there, man. A little tear jerker. So yeah, but yeah, I definitely get that because like, especially as you get older, like you ain't gonna want to go to events forever. Like, man, I'm 50, man. I'm still going to these events. I mean, I can do it, but I know the game. But it's like all
Yeah.
these young guys, they got more energy than me. My kids don't want to do it. They're in college, so it's kind of like,
Yeah, it's rough, man. That's why I like what I do. Again, you can do it into the higher ups, age wise. You can still send an envelope with the card. You can still,
right.
it doesn't, of course, roaming events and trading at events, of course, the older you get, the more toll it takes on you and things of that nature, of course. But it's not the same like playing all day, so,
Playing
but
all that
yeah,
takes a
yeah,
toll
we
on you
all have
too,
to
bro.
have,
Like, I'm like, man, I'm getting
no, no,
old for this,
no, for
bro.
sure. No, no, no. We have to all have our goals, our end goals per se. But we mentally we keep that down the line. We love the game too much. We good, man. We need to find these Billy Bobs and go to work.
Exactly. Well, Jay, I don't want to take up so much of your time. It was fun having you on again. Thanks for coming you on again. Any final thoughts?
Nah, man. Again, thank you so much for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to do these. I always love chopping it up. Yu-Gi-Oh discussions, and it's something that in the future, I want to have in the channel more of. As we continue to expand and evolve. Right now, I'm at the stage where I've just been like just 10K, 10K, 10K. Just keep at it. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mentality. But as we continue to grow and expand a little bit, that's my focus. Just be able to do stuff like these and then bring you on, and instead of just causing you buy out Perulia, we'll just discuss about
Man,
the
our power
markets
rate
and
almost got bonus too.
yeah,
What's
yeah,
up,
and
bro?
that's the latest and greatest. Now you got me wondering what's the next one, man. But nah, but it's always funs and games, man. So that's my goal, to do this in the future as well for my channel, because it's great to get these discussions going and to provide that value in that way for the Yu-Gi-Oh community as well. But now, again, thank you so much for having me on again, guys. Make sure you check me out. We do daily market watches. And there's a lot of value over there. And people get entertained sometimes too. They enjoy the personality, just staying in tune with the markets at least. Even if it's at a generic level, just know what's going on. It doesn't hurt to know of some buyouts or card crashing and things of that nature. So yeah, that's what we do, man. So it's always a pleasure. Can't wait. We're gonna have you on soon again. It's always good. I am a big believer in collaborations. I think that's something that, not that Yugi tubers don't do it, they don't do enough of. That's just
Yeah,
my opinion. So that's
we used
why
to back in the
I'm a
day, but
big.
things change. Like that's like 8 years
Yeah,
ago. It was
there's a
more
lot
than
of
that.
drama.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of,
egos
drama and
involved. It's
you know,
crazy.
yeah, and it's sad because there's a lot of value in collaborations, of just bright minds coming together and creating that special type of content. I'm a big proponent of that. So, that's why I love doing it and at least, with people that want to. Because again, a lot of people, yeah, oh, I don't associate with this brand or I don't do that. To each their own, man. But collaboration, there's a lot of power that goes into that, in my humble opinion. But again, thank you so much for having me on. Can't wait for the next time. It's always a pleasure. I've been yapping too much. Take
No,
it
you
over
good,
from here,
man.
man.
Nah, you're
Much
good.
love, man.
All right, man. As you always say, man, stay fresh, y'all. Peace.
Stay fresh, y'all. Peace.
All right.